following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today. Welcome in to the Lee Company studio. On the program today, we'll be talking a little wrestling with Blackman head coach Ronnie Bray. Also, the Daytona 500 is just a few short days away. ESPN and SEC Network's Ryan McGee will join us as well in the second half, plus player and teams of the week. All that straight ahead on Main Street Sports Today. Now to the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Patton. Here's a Sundrop kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
It is Thursday, and that means we are just one day closer to the weekend.
And that means what?
It means more basketball. Plenty of basketball. That's what it means for us.
It certainly doesn't mean an off day. So,
what are those? Haven't seen those in a minute. Some teams got them today, and we'll get into it. Yeah, like JP said, Ryan McGee will be talking Daytona 500. We'll talk to Ronnie Bray as the first ever TWSAA individual wrestling sectionals will be held this weekend.
Yeah,
got some big news across the world of sports to get into, so should be a lot of fun. Transfer portal, NIL, everything. The Titans, we'll talk a little bit about them. Just a lot going on. So let's dive right in and give you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
From the Blue Raiders to the two-tone blue.
Whoa, that was
covering
weird.
The team.
I mean, that works. Hey, man.
This is the rundown.
in Wednesday high school boys basketball action, Columbia Academy on the road saw their season come to an end with a 56-42 loss at Clarksville Academy in the Division IIA Middle Region quarterfinals. In 10-1A semifinal play on the girls' side last night, Collinwood with a 52-37 home court win over Richland. Also, Wayne County at home defeated Santa Fe 69-19. Junior college baseball action, Columbia State opened their home portion of their schedule with a sweep of Freed Hardeman. We were on hand for some of that. Chargers defeated Freed 6-1 in game one and 7-1 in game two.
In NCAA men's action last night, Jacksonville State gets a come from behind win over the Bisons of Lipscomb, 78-67. Ding, ding, ding. Second-ranked Auburn downs Vanderbilt, also
Finally.
come from behind,
Yeah.
94-80 down on the Plains. In the women's action, took overtime, but Murray State avenged the earlier season loss to Austin Peay 68-61 at home. And then NBA action, look at here. This is weird. The Trailblazers over the Grizzlies, 123-119. Didn't know that they could lose to somebody not named Dallas.
They said it would never happen. Tonight's high school basketball action, short slate, and we'll get into that more later. District 12-4A play-in games, basically. Nolensville boys travel to Summit. Independence girls are at Nolensville. Both those games are 6 o'clock tips. NCAA men's basketball action tonight on ESPN Plus at 6 o'clock. Austin Peay is at 21st ranked Murray State in Ohio Valley Conference action. Also in the OVC, Eastern Illinois at Belmont at 7 on ESPN Plus. Southern Illinois Edwardsville is at Tennessee State. That's a 7:30 start at the Gentry Center on ESPN Plus. Conference USA at 6 o'clock. Middle Tennessee State goes on the road to FIU. That's a 6 o'clock game.
And if it's on TV,
We
just
don't know.
listen to Chip.
Yeah, there you go.
It's easier.
That's the best thing anyway.
In women's action tonight, Eastern Illinois is at Belmont. It's 5 o'clock tip. Prior to that men's game on ESPN Plus, same thing for Tennessee State. They host SIU Edwardsville at 5:30 on ESPN Plus. In Conference USA play, FIU women are at Middle Tennessee State because it's the opposite. That's a 6 p.m. tip. You can see that one on ESPN Plus. Go figure. And in SEC play tonight, both at 6 o'clock, Vanderbilt at Kentucky. And 12th ranked Tennessee is at Alabama. Both of those 6 p.m. tips. Tennessee, Alabama on SEC Network Plus. Vanderbilt, Kentucky on ESPN Plus. So either way, just go to the ESPN app. You can find all these games.
There you go.
Except for the middle men. Go figure. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's rundown. And what a rundown it was. My dad texted me last night. You at the ball game? No. I was at Build-A-Bear.
How'd that go?
It's great.
Did the bear get built?
The bear got built, and Charlie stepped on the little lever that fills the bear. So
nice.
She did a good job.
Did she enjoy that?
She was a little scared of everything that was kind of going on.
It can be a lot.
It's overwhelming a little.
Yeah.
So
especially for a not quite 1 year old.
Right. So it was interesting how, she kind of eventually, when I got the bear home and I put it in the corner of the playpen and just kind of let it sit there, she eventually went over there and started playing with it and that sort of thing. So things are it's getting better. She'll catch on here shortly, I'm sure. So anyway, top story today, opening tip.
There we go.
Comes from high school, because the reason the rundown is so short, Mo, is because some of our games have been postponed to tomorrow.
Postponed.
Not canceled.
Not canceled. Postponed. Pushback.
Which is
yeah. In District 10-1A, boys semifinals that were supposed to be played today will instead be played tomorrow, which interrupts the rest of that schedule, because they were going to play championships and consolations on Saturday down at Wayne County. So instead, tomorrow you've got boys semifinals, Culleoka at Santa Fe and Wayne County at Richland. You've got girls consolations and championships Saturday night at Wayne County, 6 and 7:30, and then boys consolations and championships at 6 and 7:30 Monday. So, and then in District 10-2A, you had 2 girls semifinals that were supposed to be played tonight at Mount Pleasant. They will instead play tomorrow at Mount Pleasant. So you will have 4 games at Mount Pleasant tomorrow. Giles and Summertown girls at 4, Lewis County and Loretto girls at 5:30, followed by Giles County and Loretto boys at 7, and Lewis County and Summertown boys at 8:30. And then things will pick up as scheduled, I think. Girls consolations and championship on Monday, boys on Tuesday. Also, in District 3A, you had 2 girls semifinal games that were supposed to be played tonight. Instead, they're pushing those back to tomorrow. So you will have all your semifinals, boys and girls, tomorrow at Tullahoma. Page and Lincoln County girls at 4. Page and Lawrence County boys at 5:30. Tullahoma and Lawrence County girls at 7. Lincoln County and Tullahoma boys at 8:30. So, and we'll give you all that again tomorrow on the rundown.
right. But 12-4A is playing their playing games tonight as scheduled, as
Right.
far as we know. Williamson County.
Well, I mean, we were told that they are. So,
Yeah, but if a
Unless-
tornado hits in between now and then, that's all I'm saying. It could happen. I've seen it.
at 2:11, the games are scheduled. So that's all I can tell you.
As far as we know, they're going to happen. Now, what happens between now and then?
You're on your own.
I've seen it happen before. You got to be careful. You never know what might just pop up out of the sky here in Middle Tennessee in February.
Use your discretion.
Oh man, I know Williamson County Youth Leagues aren't playing tonight. I know that for a fact. So anyway, great show coming up throughout the rest of the way. And we're going to start it with Ronnie Bray of Blackman Wrestling. So stick around. We'll hand out some hardware and we'll talk to Ronnie Bray on the other side of the break. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint returns after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. It is Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant here live from the Lee Company studio. The weather today not nearly as good as it was yesterday. Yeah, tough day. It's all right.
Yesterday was great, though.
It was. We'll take that as much as it will give it to us. We'll take it.
Yeah,
especially in February. Well, it's time to hand out some hardware as we do each and every Thursday. Give out to the In to Win Life Team of the Week, presented by our friends at Custom Stone Handlers. Ned Rich and the folks at In to Win Life and Custom Stone Handlers. This week's Team of the Week, really, if you go out and win a district tournament and you complete the season sweep of Independence, you got a good chance of winning this one.
Columbia Central going into hostile territory last Friday night, picking up a 71-64 win at Independence to clinch the District 12-4A regular season championship and the number one seed in this weekend's tournament. So Columbia Central finishing up the regular season with a 22-3 record. That win at Independence was preceded by a 91-76 comeback victory up at Nolensville on the prior Tuesday night. So a couple of big wins for the Lions, averaged 81 points. That's
You'll take it.
That's not a bad showing for Nick Campbell's group of underdogs over at Columbia Central.
Picked 4th in the district. Won it all.
I don't know who was picking.
Well, funny story. They have played much better on the road than they have at home almost all season long. Last year, the district tournament at Columbia Central, and they get ousted. It's interesting because they lost to Ravenwood. I saw them lose to Ravenwood at home, but they go over there and beat them pretty good. 1-point game against Independence here in Columbia. They go up there and win by 10 or 7-ish.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's interesting.
They're 22-3. They've not lost a whole lot of games anywhere,
and yet, it just appears that they have played better on the road. So maybe this tournament being at Summit, not a bad thing for the Lions.
Or not at Columbia.
Anywhere but Columbia, apparently.
Yeah, because this tournament will be at Summit, and they are assured of a berth in the region, which is also at Summit. So
that's positive. There you go.
That's a good thing. Pack up the home uniforms.
Yeah.
Put them away. Yeah.
The player of the week also comes from Columbia Central.
She does. Janiyah Riley.
A triple double.
Something like that. Yeah. 23-10-10 in their win over Independence last Friday night. Janiyah Riley, our Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint player of the week this week, averaged 21.5 points in 2 games. So she's doing some good things, and that team is doing some good things, really getting a little bit more diverse offensively as they advance and approach the postseason. So could be some good things in store for them as well.
Looking forward to this weekend for sure. All right, let's get into it. We've got Coach's Corner presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. That was a nice little hiccup there.
All right.
Renee Hart and the folks over at From the Heart, making sure that you are well fed and happy and well read, well fed and well read. You can pick up a book and read while you wait if you'd like over at From the Heart in Chapel Hill. So go check out Renee and the gang. They do a great job. Best sandwiches and desserts anywhere in the Southern Mid-State. Joining us on Coach's Corner is Blackman Wrestling Coach Ronnie Bray. Coach, welcome in. Thanks for taking some time with us today.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, not a problem, Coach. Hey, just I guess the big thing to me this weekend, you've got sectionals across the state, and it's a new concept, and just trying to get different folks' take on this. You like it? You don't like it? What are your thoughts? I mean, clearly there's not a whole lot you can do about it, but what are your thoughts as you head into this weekend?
Well, we're definitely not a fan. We used to be Region 5, and we were already, paired up with Region 6, and now they've moved us to Region 4. They renamed they took football out and dropped a few teams down, and now we're Region 4, and that pairs us up with Region 3, which is Cleveland Bradley region, who are number 1 and number 2 in the state. So it's definitely made it a lot more challenging for us to get some guys to the state tournament for sure.
That's kind of what I was looking at, Ronnie, as I look at the setup, and it's odd that region has a total of 7 schools. Because Bradley Central, Cleveland, Ooltewah, and Howard are in District 6. McMinn, Ray County, and Walker Valley are in District 5. So you've got a 7-team region over there. So in addition to 2 of the top programs in the state, there's not a whole lot else in that region. So I imagine Bradley Central and Cleveland will be sending full teams to the sectionals this weekend.
Well, they both are qualified 13 out of 14 for the sectional.
13 out of 14? Slackers. Now where is y'all sectional?
It will be at Oakland.
Okay, well, at least they have to travel.
Yes. And then next year we have to travel to the Chattanooga area.
Oh, okay. So you're going to rotate it. Okay. All right. Bradley and Cleveland aside, what are your thoughts about your team as you guys head into this? Because how many did y'all get through?
We got 10. We have 10 so far, and Oakland has 12. And we were the top 2 teams in our region, and have fared well. So it's pretty much going to be the state tournament before the state tournament. That's the way we've been viewing it and preparing for it. And if you do well in our sectional, there's no reason that you can't get a state medal.
Right, no doubt. I had Mark Reeves on my podcast, first takedown, a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of talked about the concept behind the sectionals. I guess it was kind of a compromise, maybe, because after taking 16 kids to state last year, taking the top 2 out of the region, which was a little bit of a shock to everybody's system. This year, the decision was you're taking the top 4 out of the region, as has been the case historically, but you've got the sectional in between, and then you take the top 4 from the sectionals to a 16-man bracket. I didn't realize the 32-man bracket was such an issue for so many people. Was it? Is it?
I'm a fan of the 32-man bracket. And I think we had the space and things like that to continue it. So I don't know why we went to a sectional. I think the more kids that get the opportunity to go to the state tournament, your best kids are going to be there anyway. So what's it hurting to have a 32-man bracket? We fought so hard for so long to get a 32-man bracket double elimination tournament. We finally get it now. And I understand last year was a COVID year, so you had to make some changes. But this year, as people are trying to move past all that, I don't understand why we're going to this. Because, I think it's, if you're the Stewart's Creeks and the Seagulls and things like that, they're still trying to, you got to get through Blackman and Oakland, and now you got to add Bradley and Cleveland. It's very hard for you to get a state qualifier, and some of that, you're putting some of the teams out that that might be their only chance to get some state qualifiers in.
Certainly. It's certainly an interesting thought process. Ronnie Bray here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe. We've talked so many times on this show and about a lot of things in the TSSAA about putting the genie back in the bottle, and it seems like this is the first time we've ever seen them actually do that. But I guess my question is, Coach, being back at Williamson County versus having to go to Chattanooga and that sort of thing, what does that make a difference to your team, not having to travel over there and being a little bit closer to home? The size and the I guess the familiarity for probably some of your kids with that facility, does that make much of a difference?
It does. The less you have to travel, so it's always better. But being in Middle Tennessee, it's not a hard drive for anybody. A lot of people want to have it in Chattanooga, but if you're from Memphis, there's no easy way to get to Chattanooga. It's going to take you a long time. And and I hear that they're going to try to move it back to Chattanooga, and I wish they wouldn't, because it just it's better to have it in the middle where everybody has a decent drive to it. Of course, I'm being partial being in Middle Tennessee, but
I mean, it's going to benefit somebody, but if you can benefit more than a few, it's better.
I think that's the thing. Putting it where it is the most beneficial for the most people is kind of what you're looking for, or it would seem that would be the case. So,
you're trying to apply logic to an illogical situation,
and we know how that works. Yeah, Ronnie, who do you feel like your best guys are to get through this weekend sectional action and get to the Ag Expo next weekend?
Well, Justin Bradford is a returning state champ, and he'll be at 126, and he's having a great year. Mason Sells at 138, Josh Hewitt 182, Grant Myers is at 132, Severn Colson 106, and Adam Nato at 113. They're doing a great job.
You said Mason.
We can get.
I'm sorry. You said Mason Sells at 38. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How many Sellses have you had?
I'm on number 3.
Are there more?
I know he's the last one. He's a junior this year, and the older brother Tyler is doing great. He's in medical school, and the middle one that we had, Matthew, 2-time state champion. He's about to graduate here in May, and then Mason's the third one. Come through it, and he's a junior right now.
That's great.
For his third region title.
They've had a great run over there, and you've done some great things with them. Besides Bradley and Cleveland, and obviously yourself, who else are you looking for to maybe make some noise at this weekend sectionals?
Well, Oakland, they edged us out for the region championship last weekend. They have 12 qualified. They're going to do well, and then and everybody's got those studs on their team.
Mm-hmm.
At 182, Austin Cooley from McMinn County is a front runner. He's very tough, and then Siegel has Connor Milhorn at 195, and so everybody's got some of those studs that you got to take into account also.
Okay, great. Ronnie Bray, the wrestling coach over at Blackman, with us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. As Chris was saying, go check out Renee and the gang over there as you're headed toward Henry Horton. It's right there on your right before you get there. So be sure and check them out. Ronnie, good luck this weekend. Appreciate you spending some time with us here on Main Street Sports today.
Pleasure. Appreciate you having me.
All right. When we come back, we'll tell you what a former Tennessee head football coach is doing these days. Stick around. Main Street Sports Today comes back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back into this Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo, when the New York Football Giants got rid of their staff, it impacted some former Tennessee coaches.
At least two, right?
At least two. And one of them has found a landing spot.
The other one has not?
I don't know what he may or may not be doing at this point. But one of them will take part in the Nick Saban coaches rehabilitation program.
Seems to be a popular place.
Yeah, well, it seems to be a great place if you want to get a job somewhere else eventually.
Sure.
And so, friend of the show, John Bryce of footballscoop.com, reporting that Derek Dooley will be headed to the capstone as a senior offensive analyst at the University of Alabama for the 2022 football season.
Good for him.
And if you're Alabama, it's the 2022-23 football season because they play into 23 every time.
And when's the last time that they didn't? So yeah.
But he was on Saban's staff at LSU. He was a tight ends coach there. So, and then as he was assistant coach down in Miami as well, 03 and 04 as a running backs coach. So he's been with Saban a few times, and I mean, it's probably,
and it certainly hasn't hurt him to be with Saban. I mean, I would imagine that played a role in him getting to Knoxville initially. So
yeah, I think his time obviously at LSU probably certainly helped him get to Louisiana Tech, which preceded his time at Knoxville. So, but Derek Dooley stepped into a bad situation and didn't help himself a whole lot, but he just wasn't in a good situation. I mean, the fact is that Tennessee was coming off a 5 and 7 year in Fulmer's last year, and then you have a pretty good year with Lane Kiffin in year 1 in 2009,
which I think really kind of elevated expectations.
It did,
and then the way Kiffin left, except
that Coach Orgeron and Kiffin took most of their signing class with them to Southern Cal.
That said,
and then
how long was Dooley at UT?
3 years. That's not really enough time. He went 15 and 21.
He didn't sign an offensive lineman.
I understand that. He'd win an entire class without signing an offensive lineman.
How do you do that?
And I don't think his recruiting is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's a pretty good coach.
Right. And it appears, after having spent time, since he left UT, he was at Missouri, and then he's been at the NFL level with the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and most recently the Giants, as you said. I wonder if this is him saying, I want to get back to the collegiate level and maybe get another shot at a head coaching spot.
Well, I think if that's what you want, this is the first step.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good first step. And
the first step is realizing you have a problem.
And here's the thing. Again, Dooley, not a bad coach, but if his trajectory is offensive analyst at Alabama, offensive coordinator somewhere, and then, back to head coaching, and it may be at some place like, Georgia State Tech or Louisiana Tech, but that's not a bad gig.
Sure.
So, kudos to Derek Dooley for landing somewhere. And again, I don't have a problem with Dooley. Dooley was probably the least problematic coach of that decade for me. I thought he was a nice guy. Probably didn't recruit very well, but also, he did some positive things too. I mean, the North Carolina bowl game, we all know is trash. I mean, that's a game that Tennessee, in my mind, won. I refuse to believe that North Carolina won that game. But other than that, I mean, he went 15 and 21 in 3 years.
3 straight losing seasons.
Again, he wasn't great, but I think he was the least problematic of the group. And again, yes, he didn't sign an offensive line. I get that. But 08, 09 were just incredibly detrimental to the program of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't help it get better, but I don't think he was necessarily given a whole lot of tools to make it better. So, nonetheless, I like Derek. I like his orange pants. So congrats to him for entering the program, as they say. And that's exactly what it is.
One of Dooley and his wife Allison's 3 children is named Peyton.
I mean,
It's kind of interesting.
it is. It is. We talked yesterday. I don't know if did we mention it? Yeah, we mentioned it on air that Jim Harbaugh signed an extension
I believe we did mention it on the air.
at Michigan after.
Yesterday was a little busy.
Yeah. Not sure what we talked about yesterday,
Yeah.
but it was 7.5 million. I'm sorry, 7.05 million.
Oh, hey, get those decimals and those O's in the right place.
But up to 7.6 in the 5th year. So he gets an incremental raise, I guess, whether he does well or not. I don't
It's
know.
all about the decimals, huh?
That's a lot of money for a guy who has
A
had
year
one
ago,
decent year.
Well, it's a lot of money for a guy that a year ago
You may
you
take a pay
wanted-
cut.
Yeah, well, and you kind of want it gone.
Yeah, no question.
It's a lot of money for a guy that a month ago, 2 weeks ago, was interviewing for an NFL job on the same day as National Signing Day.
This is what's going to happen.
All right.
Michigan is going to regress next year. And then Michigan is the school, the program is going to be in a very, very precarious spot. This is not a team that is built for long-term success.
Well, and that school to the south, as they refer to them, isn't going to take what happened this past year laying down.
No, exactly. So we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
Mo, today was a big day for the United States Football League. They released the uniforms. And so I thought, let's go through them and give them a grade. All right. So, JP, you'll have to tell me who's up first.
All right.
Can we go in the order that I sent them to you? New Orleans?
Maybe. Yes. New Orleans is first.
New Orleans is first. Check those out and tell me what you think, Mo.
New Orleans Breakers.
The Breakers.
Well-
Look a lot like, a modern day what they had, which I guess
Well,
is
that's
the
what
idea.
all of these are.
Yeah.
When you see these, you'll go, okay, this is a little bit of and paying homage to the throwback.
Sure.
But I like them. I think it's probably one of the top 2. I've seen them all, but I think it's one of the top 2 best with the royal blue and the two-tone blue.
As I've said before, I don't think you can ever go wrong with two-tone blue. So those are nice. I don't have an issue with those.
All right. Scale of 10 out of 10. What are you giving it?
Oh, that's an 8 easily.
I'm going 8.5 on that one for sure.
All right.
Swipe to the next one. Who we got?
Michigan Panthers.
This one's weird because the dark garnet color with the baby blue is weird to me.
It's very weird, and I thought it was weird the first time.
It's different, but I'm okay with it.
I'm less okay with it. I'm less okay with it.
It's unique.
It's
certainly unique.
No question, it's unique.
It's an option.
That's a 4.
And this is Jeff Fisher's.
This is Jeff Fisher's.
I wonder if him coming on, if he brought that lighter blue.
The
was it already there?
No,
Blue's always been there.
It's always been there.
Yeah, that was there the first time around.
That's the same logo that they used before.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with a 5
That's a
because
4.
it's I like the gold breeches. It's weird. This is the weird part to me. The triple stripe with the blue in the middle of it's weird. Anyway,
The blue throws me.
I'll give it a 7.
Otherwise, they kind of look like Boston College to some degree.
wait till you see the Stallions.
Here's the New Jersey Generals.
Very basic, but classic.
Look like Rutgers.
Which is kind of, I think, the point. I think
It
it's
might
classic.
very well be, particularly in New Jersey. Yeah.
So it is a classic look. It's not too crazy. Even the numbers are more classic than most of the others. So
Yeah, that's.
I give it a 7.
6.
Yeah, I gave it a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a pretty good option there, but again, just classic.
Tampa Bay's next. The Bandits.
Love these,
Bandits.
by the way.
I like the silver helmet.
The Silver Dome, and it's, again.
And the silver breeches, as they would say in Athens.
Exactly. I
Mhm.
think this is a very similar to Georgia,
Mhm.
and I love it. I think it looks really good. It's classic.
There's a little Tampa Bay Bucks in there, I think, as well.
Yeah, there could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it a 7.5.
I'm a 7 there. Yeah.
So I like their logo too. I think they have one of the better
Mhm.
logos.
All right. Here are your Stallions, Chris. Birmingham.
Speaking of Boston College,
This is very the
That
only
or
thing
49ers.
they don't. Well, someone said, "What if the Broncos were the 49ers?"
Yeah.
And
I think it's a different shade of gold than the 49ers there. I don't like that gold accent stripe on the shoulders on the white jerseys. You almost lose it.
you do, but I don't know what else you do because you only have 3 colors. They don't have a black or anything like that.
And that's unfortunate. Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's a 5.
I give it a 7, and here's why. The only reason it's not higher is because they don't have gold breeches. If they had the gold breeches, I'd be in for it. But they used to have the gold breeches. But this is almost identical to what they had before, which is why they went that way with the wide stripe on the. This is my least favorite.
Pittsburgh Maulers.
Pittsburgh is my least.
Is that
favorite.
a purple? Is that a
It's
Clemson
purple and orange.
orange?
Yeah, it's
Clemson
purple,
colors.
yeah.
But to me, and I'm going to make a lot of Titans fans either really happy or really angry. I hate the second color shoulder. It looks very Pop Warner to me. And I hate the second color shoulder, especially when it's 2 dominant colors like purple and orange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like at least with Tennessee, it was a baby blue. It wasn't a boom right in your face color. Both of these are, the away uniform, not so bad. The home uniform, awful. I
Yeah.
gave it a 3.
Yeah. I'm not going to give it a 3, but I'm going to give it a 4.
All right. Up next, the Houston Gamblers.
This is my number 1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's solid.
That dark slate gray pants.
I don't like the insert under the arm, though.
That is the one thing that's keeping it from being a 10 for me. It's a 9, but I hate the arm insert because, again, Pop Warner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd rather just have a single solid
Leave
color
it black
jersey all
because
the
it
way
matches
around.
the stripe than the pants.
Yeah, but it doesn't match the stripe. It's the opposite color of the stripe that goes down the pants.
Because
Exactly.
you got black. Yeah.
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 So why are we doing that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Leave it
backwards.
solid black.
Give me
Yep.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yep. Yeah.
But the away uniform is really good, even with the
The insert.
uniforms.
Were you able to get them up on the screen, JP?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So
you're listening-
if you're listening, you got to go find us where you can see us. Yeah. So,
Or look at USFL on Twitter, I guess.
That too.
If you want to just,
if
make
you
it
don't want to see us, but
real
you want to
easy
see
on
the
you.
uniform.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. All right, it's time to take a break. Halftime coming up here, and we don't have a lot of time for it. So
Short
may
halftime.
not
huh?
even get a halftime, but come back after this.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Without you, there is no high school sport. Well, there might be. There probably still would.
I think they'd figure something out.
Oh man, what do you guys? Anything you guys got planned for this weekend outside of working?
No.
So I have
Outside of working, I got nothing.
So I have to DJ in Alabama on Saturday. It's a 6:00 ceremony in February. Whoever thought that was a good idea.
It's not outside.
I hope it's inside. If it's not, I'm quitting. And I've already been paid. I've already cashed, exactly. But the directions take me right through Bluntsville, which I told you my friend Deep South Barbecue down there, who has the loaded potato, the sweet potato with. Oh, I cannot wait to get a chance to stop in Bluntsville and see Deep South Barbecue and Joe Boo and the gang. So
Joe Boo?
Yeah, Josh Butler.
Oh, okay. I like it.
All right, let's take a break. Second half coming up. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
It's the second half of Main Street Sports today on this Thursday. Coming up, we'll be joined by the ESPN SEC Network's Ryan McGee. Talk a little Daytona, probably a little college football conversation as well. You ever know what you get into with Ryan McGee? Stay tuned for that and much more. Second half underway. Back to the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Patton. Here is the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
It is Thursday. Yep. Thought we had a lot going on tonight. Then we didn't. Does that mess up our plans tomorrow? I mean,
well, it's certainly something we need to talk about.
Golly.
Not now, but
well, here's
before tomorrow, ideally.
If you got nothing better to do, sit on the couch tonight, watch Belmont play, watch Austin Peay play, take on Murray State at 6:00. Tennessee, Alabama women play tonight, and Coleman Coliseum has not been kind to the Lady Vols in recent years. Now, this Alabama team probably not as good as the last couple, but they've not been great ever. I don't know the last time Alabama basketball was good enough that you think they're going to beat Tennessee.
The last time Alabama was good enough that you thought they were going to beat Tennessee, Rick Moody was the coach.
There you go. So I mean, but the way this Tennessee team's playing, who knows? It's kind of been ebb and flow.
It really has. And, we've got Michelle Vopel with ESPN joining us tomorrow to talk about Tennessee going into that Sunday game against South Carolina.
It'd be unfortunate if they lost this one.
Well, but this, in the last couple of times we've talked about trap games on this show, they've played out that way. So we don't want to get too much into that. But yeah, this will be a challenge for UT to try to stay sharp ahead of, facing Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's probably something I'll probably turn on at some point just to, check out the Lady Vols.
No doubt. What time is that game?
6 o'clock.
Oh.
Also on the Plus.
I'll probably miss it. But anyway.
Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans and some comments made from a longtime NFL defensive player, Solomon Wilcuts.
Yeah. Apparently he either I don't know if he made these remarks on a show on Sirius XM or if he made these remarks to
Jim Wyatt.
Oh, so he spoke to Jim Wyatt on Radio Row.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Leading up to the Super Bowl. TitansOnline.com senior writer / editor Jim Wyatt has an article up on the website today. Headline: NFL analyst Solomon Wilcots, Titans need to get better around QB Ryan Tannehill. Quote, don't worry about Ryan Tannehill getting better. Don't worry about getting Ryan Tannehill better. Sorry. Worry about getting better around Ryan Tannehill.
I certainly think there are some positions where the Titans could improve, tight end most specifically.
I think wide receiver, once you get I think you need a third.
Wide receiver 3 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely you need a wide receiver 3. But yeah, because you don't have what you don't have is a safety option. That's what you do not have with Ryan Tannehill in this offense right now is a safety option. There's not a guy that you can go to on 3rd and short that is going to get you 4 or 5 yards after you've made your first 2 reads.
So I initially saw this on Jim's Facebook page.
Okay.
And I'm going to read you my response. I think it's interesting that Wilcots basically says, let me preface this. I'm trying to find the phrase that I referred to. Sorry. Oh, here we go. But it's a collective process, special teams, offense, defense. No team, particularly a Mike Vrabel team, is going to say, I'm going to win because my quarterback is better than yours. He is not even wired to play football that way. That is a fan's way of building a team. That is a fan's way of saying, this is how I want to play. Real football people, and Mike Vrabel is real football people. He is not trying to build that kind of team. So I think we should allow him to continue doing what he is doing because he is going to win. Okay. I think it's interesting that Wilcots basically says that real football, ? Isn't about the quarterback, but about the people around him offensively. No doubt the Titans can stand to get better at offensive positions besides quarterback, but just in Sunday's game, you saw 2 guys that elevate the play of those around them, and they're not the only ones in the league. Now, what's easier, improving at QB either with the existing one or with another one, or improving around the QB? For the Titans, it may be the latter, but not on the basis of Wilcots' stance.
I think it's obvious that the best teams in the National Football League have great quarterbacks. Period. Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Who's the fourth one?
Well, it's not Jimmy G.
No,
but
I mean,
it's probably Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. The best teams in the NFL have great quarterbacks.
Tannehill is not a great quarterback,
but he's good enough.
He's good enough with the right people around him. But those guys don't necessarily, I mean, there is nothing as you came into the season, there was nothing that stood out about that receiver core in Green Bay.
Outside of Devontae Adams, no.
Yeah.
I mean, Devontae is great.
Yeah.
But outside of that, nothing. Now, the Rams have two of the – they didn't
start the year with one of those guys.
But they had one guy who was iffy. Cooper Kupp wasn't some absolute got-to-have receiver.
Right.
And he had the best season in the history of an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
So, that being said, Ryan Tannehill is capable, but he's got to have 4 options. 4. And we have 1.5. So, that's a problem. Jonnu Smith, losing him was a huge loss. And I think Jonnu would tell you
he should have stayed.
It was a huge loss for him, too.
Yeah, right.
So, anyway.
Interesting.
It certainly is. Let's talk to Ryan McGee and get into the Daytona 500, who, for the first time ever, has a black president of the race. It's interesting. I just saw an article today and thought that was unique. So anyway, we'll talk to Ryan McGee of ESPN on the other side. Stick around on Main Street Sports today. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. It is Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton and JP Plant on the controls. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here. Make sure to follow us at ms_sports today on Twitter. Show is archived podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, your distribution platform of choice. By searching Main Street Sports Today, you can find the first half, the second half, and each special guest cut out just for you.
Including this one.
Special guests such as the one we currently have on the line. He is a senior writer for ESPN.com. And did you know he penned the script for the documentary film Dale? Thought that was pretty cool. And
multi-talented.
Apparently has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham. Ryan McGee.
I think I've told you guys before, when people say that to me with Marty and McGee, they're like, "You're the other guy in Wham." I'm like, "The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl in Bananarama and lived in a castle." So the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
Hey.
So that's not a bad gig.
I'll take it.
And here's the best part is you don't have to deal with people recognizing you everywhere you go. You can actually still go to the grocery
100%.
store.
Yeah. Well, when you don't have that haircut that Marty has,
right?
It's a lot easier to just run over to the Buc-ee's and not get recognized. But if you walk in looking like Jimmy Neutron, everybody realizes it's Marty.
Ryan, you bring up Buc-ee's, man, and I was
Ryan's hair is big as Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I was coming back from Atlanta first weekend in October, and there's a new Buc-ee's
in Leeds.
No, it's in Adairsville or something
that's
like
right.
that. Yeah, on 75. And I think the first time you go to Buc-ee's, I think you almost have to go with someone who's been before, because man, I was overwhelmed.
No, I couldn't handle it. In fact, it's funny. I joke, but I just drove past the Buc-ee's that are brand new in near Daytona, and my family and I went to Disney last summer right before football started. And they're like, "Hey, we need to go to Buc-ee's." And so we went, and I remember my daughter looked at me. She goes, "I can't handle this. We have to leave."
No.
I'm like, I'm with you. I'm like, "Find me a quick trip." I can't handle it. But yes, I'm with you. But now that I've been, I feel like I can handle it. But I was not equipped last August.
Man, I needed a tour guide. Yeah.
Yeah. They're selling furniture. I'm like, where do I get like a soda? Yeah, but I don't need a smoker today. I need some cookies. Yeah.
That's what happened to us. We were going to the Winter Classic in Dallas, and we stopped on the way there. And my wife is the snacker of all snackers.
But she couldn't find snacks, so she found all the snacks.
No, she found all the snacks.
She found every snack.
And that was the problem. We spent like $60 on snacks. And I'm like, and we didn't even buy a T-shirt and some home decor. So
and underwear. They got underwear. I remember
DVDs.
We went to the swimming pool at Disney at our hotel, and here came this woman with the Buc-ee's bikini on. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's her husband's thing, but it was not mine.
So they got a dressing room on top of everything else then. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, it was. I was like, all right, but anyhow, point is, I am in Florida. I'm in Daytona, and all due respect to the Buc-ee's cult, I drove right past it because I can't process it.
Well, I feel better.
Yeah,
that makes me feel better to know that Ryan McGee was overwhelmed by Buc-ee's as well. I thought it was just me. Yeah. As you mentioned, Ryan, you are in Daytona. We had the Super Bowl this past weekend. Now we have the Super Bowl of racing coming up this weekend.
Different from the Iron Bowl of racing.
Yeah. Okay. What are your immediate thoughts about this one?
Well, it's going to be different. And I think I got a column. I mean, shameless plug. I got a column on ESPN.com today. We were finally rolling out the next gen car, they call it, Generation 7. And this car is needed. This car has been needed for a long time. The car they just put on mothballs is basically the technology in it was, I mean, literally based on 1967. I mean, it was just, and that's cool to a point. But, if you're going to be relevant, you got to have a relevant car. And so this is a brand new car. The problem is that this pandemic supply chain that, is causing your cup of coffee to be more expensive and is causing your furniture order to come in 6 months later than it's supposed to. That's wreaking havoc on these teams because the new model is they don't really fabricate the parts in the shop like they have in years past. Now, NASCAR has said these are your part suppliers, and it's a kit car. This is how you put your race car together, and all that's great, and it's going to save the teams a lot of money. But the problem is there ain't any cars, and so you guys know, particularly the last 10 years, they will wreck some race cars at the Daytona 500. And so there's a lot of concern about not what happens here in Daytona, but what happens when they go to California and Phoenix and Vegas and all that over the next month. And so it's the supply. They all agree that it's going to get better, and by the time they get the spring, it'll be better. But there's a lot of puckered up people right now because they're worried about not having enough cars to get into the spring.
Heck, 2 weeks ago, obviously they weren't high speed crashes, but there were some folks that ended up in the wall, and some of these teams only have one car.
And what you saw was that teams that fell out of contention in the Busch Clash out in LA, which was awesome, by the way, in the Coliseum, but the teams that fell out of contention, they got out of the way. I mean, they didn't park it, but they got way out of the way. And you're going to see that tonight, the dual 150s, the qualifying races tonight. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of craziness tonight. I think guys are going to be smart. There's only a couple of guys that can race their way in, and they might benefit from the fact that all the other teams that are already, locked in are going to get out of the way. But Sunday's going to be nuts. I mean, it just is. I mean, it's the Daytona 500. That's just how it's going to go. And I think everybody is like, all right, if we're going to wreck one, let's wreck it on Sunday in the race. Let's not wreck one in practice or in the dual race.
It's interesting because you're right. Typically, these duals races can get crazy because there's typically a pretty big payday involved. But this time around, maybe less so because, again, nobody has those one or two backup cars that they used to have just on standby. So it's certainly interesting how that's going to play into tonight, but also into Sunday, because like you said, if we're gonna wreck a car, we're gonna do it in the Daytona 500, because it doesn't matter what we do at Michigan or at California or whatever, as far as the viewership or the fanship. I mean, we're making fans this Sunday, and that's what a lot of teams are doing this weekend, especially the newer teams and the rookie drivers. What is your outlook right now for some of these new guys? I mean, it certainly looked like some of the old heads like Denny Hamlin weren't necessarily on top of their game 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I think that, and this is, and again, shameless plug time, this is the column I'm going to write for tomorrow for ESPN.com, which is, we've talked about the next-gen cars, but the reality is, there's a next-gen group of drivers right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last two champions are Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, and Kyle Larson is 29. And Chase Elliott was the youngest champion in, 60 years. And all four Hendrick drivers are in their 20s. And, on Sunday, over half the field will be drivers in their 20s. And this will be the fourth year in a row that's been the case. And you guys know, when I started coming down here 27 years ago, watching Sterling Marlin win the Daytona 500, everybody in the field was in their 40s. There you go. Columbia all the way.
That's Spring Hill plug.
That's right. But those guys, the field back then, it was a huge deal that Jeff Gordon was in the race because he was in his 20s. And now you're talking about 40 guys in the race on Sunday, and over half of them are in their 20s, and it's been this way for almost half a decade. So, yeah, you're right. And, Denny Hamlin is getting into team ownership, and Brad Keselowski is getting into team ownership, and Kevin Harvick didn't win a race last year. And there's definitely a shift that's happening right now. And the old guys don't want to hear it, but, I mean, you guys know Father Time is undefeated. And he's starting to creep his way back into the garage, as happens when about every 10 years when the guys cycle through. When Harvick and Keselowski and all these guys, Denny Hamlin, these guys kind of took over the sport. They had to wait for Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace and and Jeff Gordon and these guys to get out of the way. So we're kind of at the top of one of those cycles right now.
ESPN's Ryan McGee with us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little NASCAR, a little Daytona 500 coming up this weekend. Ryan, you mentioned the influx of young drivers, and typically you don't see those guys get in at such a young age just because it's so hard to get rides. How has it been that you've had this number of young drivers be able to get rides at the top level of stock car racing competition at such an early age?
Well, number one, they're really good. And the system is a much more, we talk about Sterling Marlowe. When Sterling came along, you had to drive around and jump 10 years and prove that, okay, now you deserve to drive for Roush. You deserve to drive for Rich Childress or Rick Hendrick, whoever. Now, and it's kind of the Jeff Gordon effect, which is, teams are willing to take chances on younger guys, but they're also cheaper. And, the salary wise, what those young guys are asking for is not a lot. And it's part of the reason why we've seen Casey Canes of the world kind of move on. Even when they absolutely, Kane could have found another cup ride, but the money wasn't there. I think it's part of the reason that Jimmy Johnson retired when he did. I think it's part of the reason that we're not going to see guys hang around into their 50s anymore, because number one, you can't make as much money as you used to. And number two, you're going in asking for a 2010 contract, and these young guys are asking for a 2022 contract, and it's a lot cheaper. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars, not tens of millions of dollars. And so, listen, they're good. There's no question about it. And I look at Rick Hendrick has told me, so I'm going to keep these four guys as long as they'll stay here. I want them to retire here, and they're all in their 20s. And part of the reason is obviously they're really good, but a part of the reason too is we're all replaceable when the young guy will take less money.
No question.
It's interesting that you mentioned 50-year-olds in the race, because there is a 50-year-old qualified for his first Daytona 500, and that is Jacques Villeneuve, a Formula One champion, has qualified for the Daytona 500. How much of an impact is he going to have?
Well, he I don't think he's going to race, but the fact that he's in the field is just cool. And what's fun is watching him get so excited. He tried this before. He tried to go stock car racing before, after he was done with kart, with Formula One, all of that. And I told Jacques last night, I said, man, it's good to see you. I said, as long as you're out here racing, then I still feel young. I begged Jeff Gordon not to retire. Right. Jeff and I came in at the same time. I started at ESPN the week he won the inaugural Brickyard 400. And the night he retired, I pleaded with him, dude, you can't retire. Because I said, as soon as you retire, I become like old dude in the press box. And so whenever Jacques Villeneuve and these guys stage these comebacks, I'm all for it, because, I can tell stories about them. These young riders can't talk about them.
Man, Daytona 500 is going to be a lot of fun on Sunday. Defending champion Michael McDowell, he's not going away easy, man. 192.736 miles per hour with a top practice session speed. He's a name you got to listen for on Sunday. I mean, clearly he's the defending champion, right?
Yeah, and he's good at these tracks. I mean, even I remember last year. Last year was the weirdest victory lane ever, because I was in town for Sports Center. I was sitting in victory lane, and Michael McDowell came in, and it was kind of like that scene in Cars where the bad guy wins, which Michael McDowell's not a bad guy at all. He's the greatest guy ever, but he's the only one in victory lane. He's like, why is the only one cheering? It's me. And last year in victory lane,
nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, me and Michael McDowell, no one else. It's because of COVID, they wouldn't let anybody in victory lane. And if the NASCAR people, to be honest with you, they were a little bummed that Michael won it instead of some of the superstars. But it was one of my all-time favorite victory lanes, because he's such a good guy. All he's done is grind his whole career, but he's always been good at these racetracks. You go back and look at his numbers. at Talladega and Daytona, all these years with Front Row Motorsports and with second-tier teams, he's got a ton of top 10s. Way more what we still call them restricted plate tracks, even though there's no more restricted plates, but there's still more super speedway top 10s than a lot of Hall of Famers because he's just good at these places. He's got a sixth sense for it. So, yeah, to rule him out, a lot of people are like, oh, one and done and fluke and all that stuff. I'm telling you right now, he will make his presence known with authority at some point on Sunday.
Who's the guy we don't know about that we need to be watching out for?
Well, if you're watching qualifying last night, and not a lot of people talk about Alex Bowman or talk about William Byron. Those are those other two guys at Hendrick. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson won the last two championships, but Bowman last night was his fourth or fifth straight year on the front row for the 500, and so those guys are good. And so I keep waiting on them, and they're getting better. If you're really watching, they're getting better, and I think that it would behoove you to keep an eye on William Byron and Alex Bowman both on Sunday.
You got it. It is the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of NASCAR, of all stock car racing. Cannot wait for it, man. We have Ron McGee of ESPN with us, and thanks so much for taking some time, man. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to reading tomorrow's column and your coverage throughout the weekend.
I appreciate it, boys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right. So, Eagleville resident Trace Adkins will sing the national anthem. And I may get cut off when I say who the Grand Marshal is, because his name is Mud here in the state of Tennessee. Hall of Fame cornerback, Thorpe Award winner, controversial Heisman Trophy winner, Charles Woodson.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
Will be the Grand Marshal.
Wow. So, that's interesting.
That's right. So, anyway, Daytona 500. Can't believe it's here already. That's when you know it's February. When we come back, let's talk some college football because there's some questions out there about tampering in the portal. Surprise, surprise. So stick around. Main Street Sports Day returns after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. Cool music there. I like it. David Ubben, friend of the show, wrote a story a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago now, I guess.
Has it
3
been
weeks.
that long?
Be 3 weeks tomorrow. Well, this is a different story. This is a story about the transfer portal. His NIL story was
okay.
last week or earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 paragraphs. Standout running back from a group of 5 program got an unsolicited call from a coach at a Power 5 program. The coach made a promise. Come here and we can make sure you make the most of your name, image, and likeness. He put a number on it, $200,000. The problem? This particular running back wasn't one of the more than 1,000 FBS scholarship players who entered into the transfer portal during the past year.
Oh, so this guy wasn't in the portal?
Not in the portal.
Ew. Ew. That's
so here we are. And we have heard specifically that a university offered a pretty high-ranking quarterback $400,000 to change their commitment from one SEC school to another. Now, we don't know the validity of that claim, but certainly seems to be possible. I mean, that's a recruit. But we're talking about guys who have a home, who are on a team. I got a job. Do you want another one making a little more money? Is this way more complicated than we expected it to be?
Certainly. And I don't even think that's debatable. But I just feel like that's a deal where you kind of got to go through this stuff. It's almost a regression to the norm. It's just that things have been so tilted in the other direction for so long that everybody got used to that. Now, all of a sudden, the pendulum is swinging back really, really hard in favor of the players. And I think at some point there will be some things put in place to kind of get it back in the middle, but it's not been in the middle.
Hasn't been in the middle.
It hasn't been in the middle. People just think it's been in the middle. It's just been tilted toward the schools. Now it's really tilted hard toward the athletes.
But it's also tilted toward.
Well, it's tilted toward the schools that are willing to play
right
in that arena,
who have already been playing in that arena for a long, long time. Now they can just do it a little less McDonald's baggy.
Here's what I never understood.
I mean, let's be honest.
Here's what I never understood, and it might be going on, and we just don't know it. I don't know, but reloadable gift cards.
Yeah, I mean,
why would you not?
Cash is king, but pretty easy to give somebody. Yeah, go buy a gift card at the store and dish them out.
And every now and then somebody just puts a little more on it or whatever.
Yeah, it probably is happening.
It has to be happening. Because if I could come up with it, surely somebody else could.
I don't know. Jeremy Pruitt's still living in 1984
with McDonald's bags,
so I don't know. I mean,
you saw what happened to him.
I mean, back in the 70s, it was hamburger heaven. How many hamburgers you need this week? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Boom. Yep.
I mean, now that's hearsay from my dad, who heard it from my granddad, who apparently saw it.
Heard it from a friend who a little Oreo.
Yeah, I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. But that's the thing, is there's nothing that you can do to even the field. But if you're not in the transfer portal, leave me alone. That's a line.
Yeah,
that's a line.
I'm happy where I'm at.
If I'm not in the portal, don't cross that line.
Or if my guy's not in the portal, don't be calling him.
Don't call it.
And it doesn't feel like it needs to be said, but apparently it does.
There are very few lines in college football right now, but that's one of them. And there are going to be some blurred lines for a long time until we can figure out what the NCAA can enforce and what it cannot. Because right now it doesn't feel like they can enforce anything. I mean, basically, the Supreme Court said you have no real standing as far when it comes to paying players and name, image, likeness, and that sort of thing. And
speaking of name, image, likeness, real quick, friend of the show, James out of Cleveland, has a virtual clinic coming up this week. And if I can find the email on it, we've had her on.
We have
with Sports Mom U. She's got a virtual conference this weekend to help sports families be successful in the new NIL world. First ever virtual name, image, and likeness conference for athletes and their families, designed to teach athletes and their families how to be more effective in this new NIL era. You can succeed without the machine. Leveraging the power of community to succeed in the world of NIL will take place on February 19th and 20th. If you want some more information on that, you can find James Etta at SportsMomU on Twitter. And there's that.
There you go.
She is Sports Mom U is a full service athletic consulting firm, and they work with high school age athletes and above. So, but clearly there's a lot to navigate in this new NIL world, and she's trying to help some folks do that. So
let's get out of here.
Real quick before we do, tomorrow night's a big night for Summit Baseball because they got 2 Friday night starters at the collegiate level. Chris McElwain will get the ball as Vanderbilt travels to Stillwater for a 3-game series with Oklahoma State, and Blake Money will make the start at Alex Box Stadium for LSU against Maine.
How about them Spartans?
How about them Spartans? How
That's awesome.
about Chad Kirby? These guys made it in spite of.
All I can think about is the number 9 hole hitter hitting 2 freaking home runs for Farragut to beat them at the state tournament. Just with McElwain and doing this Craig Kimbrell impression.
Sometimes it bees like this.
That's it for Thursday. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Please come back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got Teresa Walker joining us. We've got Michelle Vopel joining us. So again, it's going to be a great day. So come hang out with us. If you missed any part of the show, you can find it on your platform of choice for podcasts, or just watch it on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your social media. For the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and JP Plant, the producer, I am a Chris Yao, whatever I am. And we'll see you tomorrow.